Imagine being in the middle of a storm. You pray, but the sky seems silent. You search for answers, but all you find is silence. And while the heart asks, why? Something bigger is happening. The sky isn't ignoring you. It's evaluating you. Sometimes God is silent not because He has forgotten you, but because He wants to hear the sound of your faith. He turns off the lights, silences the voices, ruins the plans. Not to punish you, but to prove something to you. Because only those who have been tested know the power of passing. Today you will discover the 5 tests which show that God is testing you. And perhaps, by understanding this, what seemed like suffering will become revelation. Stay until the end, because the final test might be the one you're experiencing right now. And when you understand the purpose behind it, you will never see pain the same way again. Have you ever experienced moments when everything seemed to go wrong all at once? Where their prayers ascended but the heavens remained silent? Perhaps you've thought, has God forgotten about me? But what if what seems like abandonment is actually a test? Because God doesn't test to punish. He tests to promote. God's proofs are mysterious but always intentional. He uses the desert to reveal what comfort hides. The pain you feel may be the fire that is purifying your faith. The silence that bothers you may be His voice teaching you to trust. Every trial is a lesson disguised as a loss. God is like a teacher who remains silent during the exam. He already taught you. Now watch how you react. The absence of His voice is not forgetfulness, it is observation. He wants to see if you will keep your heart strong even when the ground shakes. The sky may be still, but God's gaze never leaves you. The spiritual life is made up of cycles, teaching, testing, and approval. Every desert is a classroom, every tear a page written. And the test isn't meant to measure how much you suffer, but how much you've matured. The test is the path between the calling and the fulfillment of the promise. And those who understand this learn to be grateful even for the storms. But the first test that God applies is the most difficult. Silence. Have you ever prayed and felt like heaven was ignoring you? What if the words hit the ceiling and bounced back empty? This is the first test. The silence test. God's silence is not to confuse you, but to help you mature. Because true faith grows when there is no sound at all. Job lived in this silence, sitting among the ashes without understanding why. But even wounded, he said, "Though He slayed me, yet will I trust in Him." That phrase moved the heart of God Himself, because faith isn't tested when everything is going well. It's tested when the heavens are silent. And when silence is endured, the soul gains wisdom. The silence of God is like the sunrise behind the clouds. You don't see Him, but He is there, ready to shine in His perfect timing. He falls silent to see if you trust what you've heard before. The proof is not the absence of a response. It's the presence of waiting. Those who endure the silence possess a more mature faith. The test of silence is the cradle of trust. That's where you learn to hear what noise could never teach you. While you cry without answers, the sky watches with tenderness. God knows exactly when to speak, and He is never late. Silence is the secret language between Him and the chosen ones. But when the silence lingers, the second test emerges. Time. Have you ever felt that God promised something, but time seems to be working against you? The more you pray, the further away the miracle seems. This is the second test, the waiting test. God uses time as a tool, not as an obstacle. Because what comes too fast doesn't last long enough. Abraham waited 25 years for the promise. Each day seemed the same, but God was working in the unseen details. The delay was what shaped his faith, and it will be for yours too. The sky is never late. It only ripens what it has promised. God's clock doesn't measure minutes, it measures maturity. Waiting reveals what the heart hides. It shows whether you want the blessing out of love or pride. God delays fulfillment in order to purify intentions. He prepares you before giving you the gift, because a blessing without preparation is ruin. Delay is the womb where purpose is formed. Time is the test of the strong. Those who continue to believe even when nothing happens have already won half the race. Faith that withstands boredom is the most valuable in God's eyes. While you wait, the sky sets the scene, and when the promise comes, the lost time will become a testimony. But there is one proof that burns more than time: injustice. Have you ever been betrayed, forgotten, or unjustly accused? When life hurts you for no reason, that's the test of your integrity. God uses injustice to reveal the heart. Jose lived through it all, sold, imprisoned, humiliated, but he never stopped dreaming. Because those who trust in God don't need to defend themselves, they only need to persevere. Injustice is the test that transforms pain into authority. God observes your reaction when you are treated badly. If you retaliate, you lose. If you forgive, you mature. Heaven doesn't judge you by your pain, but by your attitude. And whoever forgives in the midst of the wound becomes unstoppable. Every betrayal is a disguised door to destiny. While Joseph was forgotten, heaven was writing his promotion. Men hurt you, but God uses that as a stepping stone. An offense is the test that reveals who has the heart of a servant, and humility is the shield of those who have passed. Don't be alarmed by injustices. They are a reflection of your faith. God allows them to test you, so you're ready for more. Those who do not get lost in pain find presence. And when everything seems unfair, remember, heaven is still in control. Injustice is merely the test before honor. But there is an even quieter test, the test of loneliness. There are times when God separates you from everything and everyone. It's as if He takes you to a place where no one can find you. But isolation is not punishment. It's an invitation. It's the test of intimacy, the time when God wants to teach you how to listen. Loneliness is the language of those who are being shaped. Moses was taken to the desert before he could lead. Jesus often withdrew to pray alone. God does the same for you. He takes away the noise so that your heart can listen. He silences the voices from outside to awaken the voice from within. The desert is the school where prophets are born. Loneliness is the test that few pass, because it demands faith without applause, prayer without an audience, and love without return. But those who endure this silence discover the pleasure of presence. God hides you to heal you away from wrong eyes. What appears to be absence is, in fact, refuge. In silence, you discover the sound of grace. In isolation, one learns the value of communion. Loneliness cleanses the heart and refines faith. Those who learn to be alone with God never feel alone again. Loneliness is the framework of the calling. And when you endure loneliness, God entrusts you with the weight of responsibility. The weight you feel isn't always a problem. Sometimes it's a purpose. God tests you with greater responsibilities to prepare you for greater dimensions. It's a test of trust. He wants to know if you're faithful with little things before entrusting you with much. Each charge carries a hidden crown. David confronted the giant before wearing the crown. God used the battle to reveal the warrior. The weight of the challenge is God's way of testing the structure of faith. Those who complain about their weight still haven't understood the calling. But whoever carries it in silence is already being promoted. Responsibility is not a burden, it is a test. It measures maturity and reveals commitment. God entrusts you with what others rejected because He saw your willingness. What burdens you today will sustain you tomorrow. Weight is the language of the chosen ones. Every responsibility brings a hidden lesson. Daily obedience is what sustains great promises. Those who are faithful in simplicity become worthy of the supernatural, and every yes to God is a victory that hell cannot erase. God weighs before promoting, but only the strong remain. And if you're experiencing all of this, it's a sign that you're being tested. How can you tell if what you're experiencing is a coincidence or a test? Simply put, when it seems like everything is against you, but something inside you still says, trust. That's the sign. A peaceful heart amidst chaos is the mark of someone who is being tested. God doesn't test those who have already given up. He tests those who still have faith. God's tests don't come with warning. They disguise themselves as pain, delay, and doubt, but each one brings an opportunity to mature. If you continue praying even when you are tired, you are being tested, and heaven rejoices every time you decide not to give up. The proof of God is a mirror of the soul. It shows what needs to die so that purpose can live. The test is the field where faith ceases to be theory and becomes practice. Don't run from it. Go through it. Because it is in the midst of pain that God reveals your strength. Those being tested feel pain, but they carry hope. And that is the difference between trial and destruction. God breaks you down to remake you stronger, and each tear becomes cement for the future. The test is tough, but the result is eternal. And at the end of every test, the verdict is always the same: approval. Every trial has an end, and every pain has a purpose. The God who tests you is the same God who lifts you up. He wounded you intentionally, but he will heal you with glory. Because gold only shines after it's been in the fire. And faith, after being tested, becomes testimony. The reward is not just what you receive, it's what you become. God uses trials to transform you into someone who carries his presence. When it's all over, you'll look back and understand. Each tear was a seed, each weight, a preparation. What hurt you yesterday makes you stronger today. Those who pass carry marks, not medals. They are not seeking applause, they are seeking presence. The glory of God rests on those who did not flee from the test. And the greatest victory is remaining faithful even when tired, because those who are faithful in the fire shine in eternity. So, if the sky seems distant, stay strong. God has not remained silent. He is watching you succeed. The desert is just the interval before the promise. And when the test is over, God himself will say, "Approved." The test ends, but what it left in you is eternal. Perhaps you are experiencing exactly one of these trials right now. The silence, the delay, the loneliness, the pain that seems endless. But listen carefully. God has not forgotten you. He is watching you overcome what would one day bring you down. And when this phase passes, and it will pass, you will no longer be the same. The trials are not meant to break you, but to prepare you. Gold is forged in fire, and faith is born from waiting. What hurts you today will make you wiser tomorrow, and each tear that fell was seen, one, by the sky. Nothing was in vain. If this message spoke to your heart, it's because God wanted to remind you of something. He still trains you, tests you, and chooses you every day. That's why, subscribe to the channel. Not like someone who follows a profile, but like someone decides to walk closer to God, learning to see purpose where before I only saw pain. Here, each video is an encounter. Each reflection is a reminder of God's love and patience. So stay, grow with us, and let the Spirit speak to you. Because what God began in you, He will finish. And perhaps the next video will be exactly the answer you're waiting for.